Hey there friends, welcome to Toolsday. So you might have saw the short, we unboxed the circular saw. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and go over its features, talk about safety, and yeah, thanks for joining me today. Alright, so here's the same saw, I've been using it for a little bit. So it's a DeWalt 60 volt, so it's the FlexVolt brushless circular saw. Let's go ahead and check this thing out. We'll need a battery eventually. Let me go find one. Okay, sorry that took so long. Wasn't sure where it went. Alright, so some features. So it's got a hook on it. So really, it's probably more made if you have like a saw hoarder. If you're working near some 2x4s, it's like perfectly made for that. If you have a tool belt on, which I don't at the moment, we'll just hang it from a pocket. So you can carry it from your tool belt with that hook if needed. Alright, so that's the hook. So this is a safety. You have to press it in either way to engage the trigger. If you don't press it in, trigger don't pull. And you could do it right-handed or left-handed. I don't think about it. I guess I'm slightly ambidextrous because some people have been noticing some left-handedness in some of the videos. So I guess I'm a little bit ambidextrous. So I can do either hand, but so they build it that way, so it's easy to press. Okay, to change the height on this is right here. You pull this, that loosens that up. So you can set your depth for something safe. And in general, you really only want to come down like 1/8 of an inch through the wood is preferred. I mean, and sure, your cuts begin and end further if you have the blade all the way dropped, but it's just not as safe. So whenever possible, and there might be instances where you have to have it up, only have that thing go down like 1/8 of an inch past the bottom of the wood. That'll keep you a little bit safer. Okay, let's go ahead and tighten that up again. Okay, we can angle this, of course, up through 45 degrees. Actually, does it go further? Might go further. Nice. I rarely need to do this, but, you know. Okay, no, it stops at 45. I imagine you'd have to make some sort of adjustment. But then, yeah, if you need to do some 45 work, you are prepared for that. It does come with a wrench for taking the blade off, so let's look at that together. So on the guard of the blade, there's an arrow here pointing this direction. So that's the direction you want the teeth to face, because that's the direction it spins. That's how it's going to cut for you the best. So in order to take this off, there's actually another button right here. That will stop the blade in a particular position. So let's find that position. So basically, I'm gonna push in that, and I'm gonna turn the blade. Oop, and actually I already found it. So I was really close to it falling into that groove where it'll stop the blade. All right, then this side out. Well, duh. All right, so I always forget, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark the saw, so that way we remember. Let's forget which way to go. So I think you go in the direction of the teeth. Let's try that. And I'm gonna kinda, there we go, and that definitely loosened it. But not quite enough. Okay, so there we go. So there's a mental note that we can add, is the direction the arrow goes is not only the direction that you want the teeth of the blade to go, it's also the direction to unloosen it. Alright, so yeah, if you're putting in a fresh blade, or if you removed one and putting in a new one, so it fits right on there. This is it's a pretty thin blade. This must be the one that came with it, 1/4 inch. But it's got to be like 7 1/4. It's just been ground down. It's a 24 tooth. So this is a little bit rougher. If you wanted to do finer cuts, you'd get a blade with more teeth in it. All right, so now to tighten it, we're gonna go opposite of the arrow of the direction of the teeth. Now, I don't like over-tightening things because you don't really need to. You snug it up and that should be good. If you over-tighten things, eventually it'll get to the point where you always will have to over-tighten or it's not gonna hold. So if you can start off your career with your tool and only snug that thing up, you'll get more life out of the bolt and out of the mechanism there. All right, so we've released the lock, so we can move again. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna grab some hearing protection. Well, actually, I do have one earbud in. You know, it's not rated like a headset would be, but it's gonna protect a bit. All right, so to start it up, like I said, you push one of the two safeties, and then you pull the trigger. It does have the LED light on it, which is really nice, illuminating your workspace, especially if you're trying to follow a pencil line. Speaking of which, let me show you something that I built. We're just going to put a couple of random marks on here. Let's say you wanted to cut from that point to that point. So I built a tray. Now, in some of my videos, you may have seen me use a track saw, and so you know this is poor man's track saw, and sometimes I'm poor. So today we're doing this. But what I've done is I screwed a piece of 1/2 inch to a piece of 1/4 inch material, and then I ran the saw against the 1/2 inch material, and I cut this off, so that way I know that this is my cutting line. So now what I can do is I can put this on the dots I made, and I'm going to put it right in the middle there. And of course, normally I'd take the time and I'd get some clamps. We're just going to real carefully do this without clamps. We're also going to check our height. It's a piece of 5/8 material, so we're going to go with 3/4, and we're going to take the battery off. So we're going to have just 3/4 of an inch visible. Okay, so that way we only have 1/8 of an inch popping through the wood. Okay, and we're tight again. All right, so I'm going to cut, and this little track saw that I've made, or this track, will allow me to cut through those magic marker dots. Okay. So, yep, halfway through the magic marker dots. Actually, this top is very nice. I'm surprised that blade cut that well. And it's not terrible on the bottom. So I'm pleasantly surprised by that 24 tooth blade. But it's really a simple tool. There's nothing I have left to go over. They do make a guide that'll slip in here, but it did not come with one, which I find unusual. But anyway, sometimes, or they make a guide. You can slide in here, and it'll have a nut that tightens in these threads, which you can't see because they're too small. And so you could set your guide out however big you need to rip something, and then that guide, you would set it against the edge of the board and then rip it to your desired width. But I don't have one, so I'm not going to show it to you. But that's all I got for you. This is a pretty handy tool. This is the FlexVolt version. I believe they make a 20-volt version too if you don't have any of the big batteries. It's definitely has proved itself invaluable for the last few weeks because I don't have my track saw right now. So this is a nice alternative. Probably doesn't do quite as fine a job cutting as the track saw, but still a nice addition to the tools here at Izzo's place. So thank you so much for hanging out today. If you're working, please work safely, as safely as you can. If you're drinking, please drink responsibly, but do everything with a bit of whimsy, and you're gonna have a good time. All right, thanks for hanging around, and I'll see you next time you're at Izzo's place.